when you first spend your $500 to $1,000 and you don't make profit on it, which is 90% chance, 95% chance, you have to evaluate it more logically than, oh man, I lost money. Okay, so he said, how much should someone be prepared to spend for testing a new campaign? The answer to this question doesn't exist. It's kind of like, what is the meaning of life? And I'll tell you why. If your campaign, if you are a damn good copywriter and you funnel hacked a funnel and you're like, that's a damn good funnel and my offers are sexy, they're awesome, like, I know this is gonna convert, right? Maybe $500 to $1,000 is more than enough. But this is where a lot of people fail. And myself included, sometimes I lose, like sometimes I'm like, oh, you know, this isn't working or whatever, let me go just chase something else. Prime example, Stuart, you probably saw it this morning, Jess put into the Slack group the difference between the two pages, right? So we have a webinar registration page. It is something I have not split tested in like 7 years. I have done so many of these, I just have my formula. And I know my numbers. I'll get 25, 26%, sometimes as low as 20%. I don't know, my math just works out. So I just don't split test it until a friend of mine who's an avid split tester comes on and says, dude, have you tried using this little app on your page? It's called UseProof. It basically, like every time someone is on your website, a little pop-up comes like, you know, so-and-so just from Maryland just registered for this webinar. So-and-so from North Carolina just registered for this webinar. So-and-so from United Kingdom just registered for the webinar. And it's actually live data. Like you can actually give it live feed data. And he was like, it upped my conversion by like 80%. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, just adding this little thing. I'm like, eh. And then we decided, I was like, okay, let's test it. Let's do some testing. And today from the data, early data that we're getting from Jess, it was like a 40% hike in conversion. Our opt-in page went from 18% conversion to 25%. With it on. Yeah, so other people are just seeing there's social proof going on. Like other people are doing this. Freaking 40% increase in conversion. Now imagine what that does to my cost per conversion. It drops it significantly, right? It increases the number of people seeing my webinar. That increases my sales. A 40% increase in conversion at the first level is not a 40% increase in overall revenue. It will be far more than that. Because it'll get more people in the funnel, more people seeing the offer, more people buying, which gives me way more money to come back and buy more ads. It's an exponential impact. So where I'm going with this is, when you first spend your $500 to $1,000 and you don't make profit on it, which is 90% chance, 95% chance, you have to evaluate it more logically than, oh man, I lost money. It's, okay, what are my numbers? What were my opt-in numbers? What were my conversion numbers? What were my upsell numbers? What were my webinar attendance rates? What were my offer abandonment rates? Like you gotta do all that data and start tweaking, because if you make 2-3% tweaks and 10 things, boom. So a lot of times the problem is not your ads or your advertising or your cost per click. The problem is actually your funnel. So you might spend 1,000 and only make back 200, and you're like, shit, I lost $800, right? You'll look at your data and the data might say, okay, dude, you're way off in this area, like stop, you know, abandon ship, redo. Or you might spend 1,000, make 200 back, and you're like, there was a technical error in my opt-in. I think I lost like 30% of my opt-ins. So glad I found that. Let me fix it. Oh, by the way, it looks like my conversion here wasn't that great. Let me fix that a little bit. Let me improve that. You got to run another $1,000. So, you know, I don't think you can test an offer without at least $1,000. But if you have a big offer you're getting ready to go, you might end up spending 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 before you actually dial it in, because with every time you're going to tweak. That's why I was laughing when you see me spend $116,000 and I'm like, you know, most people are like, and I'm like, oh, I'm still testing. Like, you know, luckily I've made that back and then some, but I'm not. I'm like, I'm still playing. This isn't my, like, I'm hoping to spend $100,000 a day once I dial it in. So that is a game with media buying. A lot of people, they quit way too early because they think they're going to come in and spend 1,000 and make 1,200 back, but they usually will make 200, 300, 400 back, and they got to tweak.